This episode is brought to you by Prime XBT, #1 Bitcoin platform for active traders from stock indices, commodities, forex, and of course crypto. So get over to primexbt.com by using the link in the description below and get up to $100 in trading money for your account. primexbt.com. I'm out of here. Holla. Yeah, it's your boy Crypto Blood, and welcome to another episode of my Two Satoshis. It is April 8th, 2020. Shout out to my man, YouTube member, new one, Tim G, for the song request, Federation 18 Dummy. Never heard of this one. Sound like some West Coast stuff. Thanks for the song request, Tim. Yes, you did do it correctly. Hit me with the hashtag song request, and I will get your song in queue. Of course, YouTube members get theirs first, so don't forget that. So what's going on, people? Welcome to another episode. Hope everyone's doing well out there in YouTube land. Today, we are going to be looking at something I've actually kept firm on. I believe that Bitcoin futures, never really manipulated the price of Bitcoin. One reason is because the volume on the futures markets back last year when it was a hot topic, really 2018 going into 19, people started looking for reasons and people and things to blame on the bear market that we were experiencing back then. One of the main narratives, one of the biggest stories and theories was that the Bitcoin futures was manipulating prices down. Institutions, the Wall Street, they didn't want Bitcoin to go up, yada, yada, yada. Well, the person that created the stock to flow model is saying that he doesn't think that Bitcoin futures manipulate Bitcoin prices. So this is out of Cointelegraph. Thought this was pretty interesting, and we're going to take a look at this here in a second. And the second article for today, yes, Bitcoin Cash Halving happening today. I don't know if you guys knew that Bitcoin Cash Halving was going to be a month prior to Bitcoin's official halving. And we're going to take a look at how it's affecting the price of Bitcoin Cash today. I think Bitcoin Cash is up about 2% today. But we'll take a look at the details on this whole halving. Not as big of a impact as many may have thought. So this is interesting to see. Is this a foreshadowing to what Bitcoin's halving is going to look like? I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments below. And then the last article is out of Decrypt Media, one of my favorite crypto news outlets. Bitcoin miners largely unaffected by the coronavirus pandemic. So remember when this thing hit, there were a lot of headlines out there talking about how Bitcoin might be affected from a security standpoint because of hash power, right? They were thinking that because most of the hash power comes out of China, that when China was affected by this coronavirus pandemic situation, that most of those miners will go offline, or a big portion of it. That I don't think that really happened. So we're going to take a look at this article, and it goes over really the non-event the coronavirus was for miners, which is a good thing. That's a good thing. If Bitcoin's network can stay up during a pandemic, that is showing even more so why this is a resilient, anti-fragile system. So all these articles and my two Satoshis on them coming up here in a second. But before we start, if you guys find these types of videos informative, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and click that bell to receive more videos like this. Let's take a look at the heat map for today. We've got Bitcoin down just a third of a percent at this moment to $7,287. Ethereum up 0.1% to $170. EOS down though about 0.5% to $2.70. Bitcoin Cash, again, as I stated earlier, up 2.6% to $264. But why is BSV up 13%? As though this was having a halving. Man, these markets are crazy. Litecoin up 0.3% to $46. And we got Binance soaking up $14, almost $15, up 2% today. Tron down though today, just slightly, down 1.5 or 1.1%, I should say. At this point with Bitcoin, I showed you guys a chart yesterday that kind of tracks Bitcoin versus these equities, and if we do a comparison today, let's pull that up really quickly and see what we have going on here. Still tracking pretty strongly right now at this point. So let's just keep an eye out on it for the next couple of days. I think the next week or so we'll see how this pans out, if the rally in equities is done or not. So we'll have to see what happens there. But I'm still sticking to my theory is, if equities continues to go higher, Bitcoin will continue to go higher. So first article though out of Cointelegraph, Bitcoin futures did not manipulate Bitcoin prices, stock to flow creator says. It says here, in a series of tweets on April 7th, Plan B, the pseudonymous analyst behind the stock-to-flow model, argued that futures have not caused the Bitcoin price to behave erratically. According to the stock flow, Bitcoin has performed as expected even after the first futures hit the market in December of 2017. Now in an industry with hundreds of millions of dollars of volume daily, futures caused suspicion last year when some commentators noticed that settlement dates appeared to coincide with drops in Bitcoin USD. The stock to flow creator said that CME launched Bitcoin futures in December of 2017. Many point to December's 2017 all-time high as proof futures have suppressed prices, but Bitcoin prices stayed perfectly within the S2F bands. I would have expected this to happen with or without futures. Nothing unusual. So he's saying that it's been inside the stock to flow band, and I'm not a huge fan of the whole stock to flow model. I know my man Phil Kennedy tracks that pretty well, but I've never been interested enough in it to really follow it like that. So maybe it's right, maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm not saying it's not. I just haven't been interested in it. Let me know if you guys follow this theory here. But as you can see from the chart here, this is the price of Bitcoin on the dot plot, and the stock to flow model is basically like that Bollinger Band. And he's saying it's pretty much on track. I mean, it's come out of the band a few times in the past to the upside, and the stock to flow band has jumped out ahead of Bitcoin prices a few times as well. But overall, it does look like it's following it, but I don't know. You know, just because it works in the past doesn't mean it's going to work in the future. So we'll have to see what happens with that. The article goes on to say that stock to flow charts Bitcoin's past and future price based on the interaction between new Bitcoins released to miners and the existing Bitcoins in circulation. The model has proven to be extremely efficient despite facing continuous criticism from industry figures. Last week, the Twitter user known as Joe007, a large volume trader on exchange Bitfinex, described those who champion stock to flow as thousands of Muppets. But continuing, Plan B, the founder of this model, suggested that Bitcoin's run to current all-time highs of 20,000 and the subsequent bear market was not made worse by futures. So you guys let me know, what do you think? As you see here, the stock to flow model is taking a jump up, and that's basically because of next month's halving. So the flow or stock of Bitcoins will be half as much as it is right now. That's kind of what that's insinuating. And so essentially the stock to flow is saying that Bitcoin will be at 100,000 by the end of this year. It could take a little bit longer, but eventually we should see Bitcoin at $100,000 here in the near future, in the next year or so, right? Because before, again, it can jump out ahead of the price of Bitcoin, but eventually Bitcoin does catch up. So we'll have to see what happens. We'll definitely have to see what happens here. I'm interested to see. They've got Bitcoin at $1 million all the way out to 2024. Which is aggressive. But we'll have to see. You guys let me know if you follow this. It's been kind of right so far. Again, I'm not a fan of it, but I just don't use it. So I don't know. Next article out of CoinDesk, Bitcoin Cash undergoes halving event, casting shadow on miner profitability. I wonder if this stock to flow model works on other coins as well. I have to look into that. If you guys know, let me know in the comments below. But I would think it should, right? It says here that Bitcoin Cash, the blockchain that forked off of Bitcoin in 2017, has just reduced its block rewards by half, causing miners to see gross margins drop to near zero. So it says, based on data from F2 Pool, at Bitcoin's current price, the network's latest hash rate, a wide range of mining equipment that was used in 2008 and early 2009 are now generating negative daily profits, assuming an average electricity cost of 5 cents per kilowatt. Even some of the most recent models that hit the market late last year and in early 2020 are seeing gross margin drop to around 10%. Only those most powerful models like the Micro BTs, What's Miner M30S, or the Bitmain's Antminer S19s and S17 Pros will be able to generate margin above 30%. But the manufacturers have not yet been able to deliver these models to the market in large numbers. That's because they normally mine them before they send them to you. That's how it goes. They pre-mine them. That's the game with these mining manufacturers. They'll build these mining rigs, these ASICs, and they'll pre-mine them for months, make so much money before they send it out to you. And by the time you get it, it's going to take you 150,000 years to break even. I'm just saying, people. With that said, the article says as more unprofitable miners unplug the Bitcoin Cash network, as is expected, mining difficulty will further decrease, dynamically increasing the mining revenue for those who can afford to stick in the game. Furthermore, specialized mining devices known as ASICs, based on the SHA-256 algorithm, which is adopted by Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin SV, are able to switch between different networks that use the same algo. It goes on to say that the 14-day rolling computing power connected to the Bitcoin network is currently at 105 exahashes, which has seen a 5% uptick after having decreased by nearly 16% late last month. So, I don't know, people. Is this a foreshadowing to what is going to happen with Bitcoin? Are we not going to see that move up? We only got a month and some change left. So a lot of people thought Bitcoin would be much higher by the time the halving came around. I'm talking about 20 at near or higher than all-time highs. And we just simply haven't, because there are other forces like that may have worked if we didn't have a pandemic, right? So that's why no forecast is 100% solid, because there's always another variable that could come in there and mess the whole projection up. Let me know your thoughts on Bitcoin Cash. I know I have a few Bitcoin Cash fans out there. Show me some love in the comments below. Last article, Decrypt Media, Bitcoin miners largely unaffected by coronavirus pandemic. This article says that coronavirus has impacted supply chains around the world, but the Bitcoin mining industry is largely unfazed. Bitcoin mining firms have been affected by the coronavirus lockdown, but firms argue that it could have been much worse. The falling Bitcoin price has been a much bigger issue. I agree with that. So it says 4 Bitcoin mining firms told Decrypt Media while supply chains for newer machines have been disrupted, they have faced few major issues. At least one firm has fully adapted to the pandemic, and all employees are now working remotely. And with conditions in China getting better, so they say, things are starting to go back to normal. I don't believe that narrative, though. More people are going to work from the office, going to restaurants, and going out. Of course, everyone takes COVID-19 very, very seriously and wears masks, but things are getting back to normal. So I don't expect any issues from China in regards to the supply chain in the near future. Thomas Heller says, Global Business Director of mining pool F2 Pool. So despite the lockdown, some of the miners found new ways to adapt and even thrive. According to miners from Argo Blockchain, the entire company is migrated to an online operation. They said, our company and staff are all now working remotely, and all of our mining facilities have been able to continue running as normal. We have no issues from our suppliers. They say we see demand at the moment driven more so by Bitcoin halving in May as opposed to COVID-19. Goes on to say that coronavirus has caused some headaches. Several miners have struggled with supply chain issues for getting hold of new machines. This one says during February there were some challenges for some mining farms in China due to restrictions on travel and shipments. In some locations, machines that were broken were unable to be sent to off-site repair centers. New miner shipments were also delayed for around 2 weeks in early February as those factories were on lockdown. The article also says that demand has dropped for mining machines. While the supply of mining machines has been largely unaffected, there has been a drop in demand for new machines. Mining experts put the blame on the falling price of Bitcoin ahead of Bitcoin's halving in May, which will see mining revenue get cut in half. Yeah, I mean, why would you buy? You know, if the price was at 20,000 and, you know, you saw some like real momentum behind the price of Bitcoin heading higher, then yeah, I would be interested, or someone would be interested in buying mining rigs and making that investment. But at this point, it's just better to buy Bitcoin and hold and hope to double your money in the next 5 to 6 months, right? Instead of mining, and you wouldn't be able to double your money in 5 to 6 months mining at this current in this environment. So I definitely see why that is the case with the lack of demand for mining rigs. Let me know, any of you, are you mining on Bitcoin? Are you mining on the SHA-256 networks? That's including Bitcoin, of course, Bitcoin SV and Bitcoin Cash, and there's a number of other ones as well, but not as popular. Let me know if any of you are mining this coin. I haven't mined Bitcoin in over 6 years. To be honest with you, it's been about 5.5, 6 years since I've mined Bitcoin. A script was what I was making a decent amount of money back in the early days from. But that's pretty much it though for today, ladies and gents. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. And I gotta give another shout out to my man Tim G, one of my newer YouTube members. Thank you for the support, by the way. His song request, Federation 18 Dummy. We out of here, people. Make sure, again, you like, share, and subscribe. And click that bell to receive more videos like this. I'm out of here, people. How?